The time is now 5:53 on this Friday morning, and here's what you need to know before you go.
An 18-year-old remains behind bars this morning after police say he led International Falls officers on a high-speed chase and damaged a local cemetery. Cale Jensen was charged with multiple offenses, including fleeing a peace officer, DWI, damage to property, and reckless driving. Authorities responded to Forest Hill Cemetery around 2 Wednesday morning after a report of a car squealing its tires. Officers found the car, tried to pull it over, but the car took off. A Koochiching County Sheriff's deputy then deployed spike strips near the intersection of Highways 11 and 71. The car went into the ditch, and police arrested the driver. The 18-year-old suspect, Cale Jensen, was booked into jail on multiple charges. Officials found over $1,000 in damages to the Forest Hill Cemetery.
A Superior man is accused of stealing a car with a dog inside and leading police on a chase over the Blotnick Bridge. Around 12:40 Thursday morning, Superior Police say someone called 911 after seeing a man steal a car from the Regina Hill Apartments on East 5th Street. Authorities started following him, anticipating the suspect might drive over the Blotnick Bridge. They put stop sticks there to deflate the stolen vehicle's tires, so that wound up working, and the car came to a stop on the Duluth side of the bridge near the Garfield Avenue exit. The 34-year-old suspect ran off but was eventually arrested and is now in the Douglas County Jail. Police say the suspect and the victim know one another. The dog inside the car is safely back with their owner.
The city of Duluth has lifted its boil water advisory for some lakeside residents. That's after tests came back showing the drinking water is safe to consume. There had been concerns after a loss of water pressure in the neighborhood earlier this week.
Back to school time is just around the corner, and there are some tips to keep in mind to have a fun and healthy year. Dr. Merritt Knudsen is a pediatrician at Essentia Health. She says with such a big change in schedules and routine at the start of the school year, being aware of signs of stress and anxiety in children is important. One sign in younger kids might be that they are acting out, while in older kids that could be irritable or not sleeping as much as signs. She says making sure you're checking in with your child is always important.